Welcome back to Let's Get It. We have our first guest here today, my man Benz Jean.
David, thank you for inviting me. I'm Benz Jean. I'm a real estate investor in New Jersey, and I'm happy to be here. Honored for you, Andrew, to invite me to your show.
Absolutely, man. Let's get with it. What are we going to talk about today, Andrew?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think the first thing we should do, we have a new guest here. The audience doesn't know who you are. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, a little bit about your childhood, things like that.
I want you to get into it.
Yeah.
Tell us how you became the man you are today, how you started. Give us the roots of what you're about. Let's do it.
All right. I could definitely do that. You know, it's like I do that every day. So anyway, I'm Benz Jean. I'm a real estate investor in New Jersey. So I live in Jersey right now, and I've been in this business for almost like 22 years right now. I started way back in like 2000. I work as a loan officer. So I basically, know the market, the ins and out of it. So since then, I have been a loan officer from 2000 to 2010, 2008, 2009. Then when the market crashed, basically I had to change clothes. I became a real estate investor. And then since then, I never looked back. And every year I find myself elevating to the next level of success. And there's some failures as well, too.
And we're going to get to those failures in a second.
Of course.
But let's talk a little bit about the mortgage industry in itself. I mean, from 2000 to 2009, how good was business?
Business was good. I'll make money. I used to make money on my sleep. As I'm sleeping, I'm making money.
So
I'm writing loans.
So the reason I asked that question is because most people don't know, back in 2004, I got into the mortgage game. And I personally thought that the business was hard to get into, but you're right. It was so easy. The subprime market existed. The balloon financing existed. I mean, banks were basically giving money away. So it was a lot of good times, a lot of successes that we had. But then 2008 happened, and it was like boom, like you hit a wall.
Correct.
I mean, how did that affect you as a person?
Oh, it affected me tremendously, mentally, financially, because I had to find myself. Because I'm so used of hard working from 2000 to 2008, doing loans, and it becomes a lifestyle. I'm so passionate of what I do. So when the market crashed, most of my clientele were like minorities, Hispanics, blacks, and it was hard for me to come back. For me to do a loan, I had to take 3 clients to qualify for a house. Back then, everything was stated. It was so easy for me to write a loan. So now I had to find a new way to write loans, but I still wasn't able to find myself.
And also, it was hard to create that volume.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I went, doing about, I think at the time I was doing about $2.5 million to $3 million worth of loan, which at the time was a lot. And
a month?
A month.
Wow. Wow.
So I was really good on what I do. So when the market crashed, it's like, financially, I had to leave off my saving, and it was kind of hard for me to rebound back. But things I had like great friends and everything that was able to help me to put me in a whole different direction. And then, so that's how I'm able to come back.
So that's kind of the reason why we're here today, because the whole idea is to talk about our failures, our successes, and to understand what it really takes to not only overcome failure, but to take yourself to the next level. And not everybody has the mental capacity, nor the drive to keep going after a fall like that. I mean, I've been there. I failed multiple times, but today's not about me. But at the end of the day, that's really what this whole podcast is about. It's about understanding what do we got to do to get it. Like let's talk about from the failure to going into where you are today. What did that take, and how did you accomplish all you've done so far? Because listen, I got to know you a little bit. We met at the Cigar Club out in Jersey. We obviously have a very similar story, very similar dynamic, very similar energy, and I want the audience to really understand where you came from, because at the end of the day, you've been through so much, and now where you are today, it's just it's admirable. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of determination, a lot of drive, in order for you to get here. Especially when that happened, I would even go to the point it's like a lot of trauma for me to bounce back. But my resources were so strong. I surrounded myself with a lot of people that was in the same business as me, who was going through the same issues at the time. And we were able to brainstorm with one another on a daily basis. How do we get ourselves out of there? So all my success I would say that all my success is not all me. It takes a lot of people in order for you to be successful. And then most of these people were with me to my struggle and to all my success. And it comes to a point, it's that I had to start all over again. And to start all over again, it's like a kid trying to ride a bike for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I fell so many times, and, I got up, fell so many times, I got up. And then, eventually, I was able to meet the right people, especially in real estate. If you don't have a great network, you don't have the right people around you, there's no way you're going to be able to find yourself back. And then I'm not someone who's just going to sit back for somebody to bring, to basically put food, on my plate. I have to go ahead and go find it. And then so at that point, I had a great friend of mine who's a real estate agent. He kept encouraging me. He's like, Benz, we got to figure out what we're going to do. So at that time, me and him started doing short sales. And then when we started doing short sales, we had to find a way to make money. And then I wasn't a real estate agent. At the time, you could charge people to negotiate short sales. So I was doing that. And then until when Obama came into power, Obama basically changed it, saying the people are struggling. They can't even afford, to keep their homes. Why are you charging them to basically to do a short sales for them, which they go into a hardship?
Got it.
So at that time, I kind of make the changes. Me and him, the guy who was buying our short sales, which was, he's an ex-football player. And then I kind of follow him around. I kind of ask him a lot of questions, basically, about flipping. And he kind of introduced me into it. So first, we developed a friendship. From the friendship, then we became partners.
So basically, you found yourself a mentor.
Correct.
And you were
Till
able,
today, he's still my mentor.
And you were able to basically learn from this person, grow with this person, and become the person you are now.
Correct.
Okay.
Till today, I still call him because it's a learning process. A lot of people won't admit it. Every day, I'm learning. I could learn from you. You could learn from me. I could learn from everybody that's in this room. So with him is that I know he's such a wise man. I ask him questions on a daily basis, like, how do I do this? This is the situation that I'm in. My back is against the wall. Can you help me? Help me think through. I might be the guy that's in front of the camera every day, look so smart, but I am smart, but it takes a lot of people around me to make me even smarter.
So it's funny because, you have that mentor. I've tried to surround myself with the right people, but Andrew, who's my partner, he's actually become the person that I kind of brainstorm off of and I speak to. And I think you can pretty much say that we kind of work each other out in regards to certain situations on business, on life, and we kind of mentor each other and kind of guide ourselves throughout our day-to-day process.
100%. I mean, we're hashtag yin and yang for a reason.
So that's the meaning, huh? Okay.
But it's funny, as this is about you, but David sort of interjected with some of his personal things that I can't stop thinking about what it means to me too, because we have these similarities where you have to search and really connect and find that mentor originally as you're starting out, as you're kind of wayfinding through these challenges of starting either your own new business or jumping ship from something that you were doing as a professional to something else and so on. But you can't do it by yourself. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. I'm just curious what maybe you might offer to the audience. Let's say there's somebody in the same kind of space as you, or whether they're young or whether maybe there's somebody that's switching fields. What kind of recommendations or advice would you give to somebody? Let's say somebody even came to you right now as a young person in need. What kind of, not that you're going to physically help them directly, but what kind of advice would you give them and say, hey, you want the game plan? This is what you need to do for yourself. What would you say about that?
In life, I always think there's a blueprint. It's always good to talk to the people that's done it before, who has the experience, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a friend, a family, or a father figure. It's always good to learn from your mistakes or whatever, because I don't want to just sit here, just talk about success, but sometimes you have to fail in order for you to understand what you really have. So my advice will be is that get a mentor or get somebody that could help you find your way to your success. And success, you go have success today, tomorrow you have failures.
That's right.
Because for every level that you go up, then it's a different type of success.
Every level you go up, unfortunately, you find a way to fail.
Correct.
To bring you back to reality. And then you reinvent yourself again.
Correct.
I 100% agree.
And by the way, if you put the failures of all three of us together at this table, it would look pretty disgusting. But let's hear from you an anecdote. What would you say was your biggest failure?
Oof.
Which is a tough question, but you could pull anything. And as you're thinking about what that answer might be, how did it help how did you persevere? How did you spin that into something positive? Or how did you just learn from it? Whatever it might be.
I have a lot of failures.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm the type of guy, once failure happen, I don't just let the door close. So what I normally do is that always find my way. Like I could give you so many examples, even though I'm in real estate. Like for example, I explained to David, he asked me the other day, how did I get into the trucking business? So I own a trucking company.
Okay.
So basically, as I was doing the trucking company, I went through so much emotion. I lost so much money on the logistics side of the business. And then once I decided I wanted to get rid of the business, I decided to sell all the trucks. And I realized there's a niche for the trucks, people looking to buy trucks. And I said, you know what? That business is not so bad. I could always make up for the losses that I took. All the L's that I took, I'm going to make up money for it. So now I have to find new resources. It took me 10 days to sell 7 trucks. Wow. And I realized how quick the trucks are moving, and they're not cheap. We're talking about $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 per truck. Okay. And then I see there was a need for it. And then in the meantime, it was my failure the day before. Then a week later, it became my success. So since then, I got into the trucking business. Now I flip trucks, as a matter of fact, and then now it works out for me. And then now in the process of opening a dealership.
And that's an important thing to understand about failure, because he could, Benz, you could have basically looked at the situation and be like, oh my God, I'm done with this.
Correct.
But instead, you pivoted. And you made a conscious decision to say basically, I'm walking away from this. I'm losing too much from this business, and it's affecting my livelihood. Whether it's affecting you personally, affecting your home life, affecting whatever it is, you made that decision, and that's what an entrepreneur needs to do. In order to really succeed in business as an entrepreneur, you have to know when it's time. Your time is up.
Correct.
And you took that and spun it.
Agreed.
And now, from my understanding, is that's basically what helped you fund your real estate business.
My real estate business. Right now.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Is that on the flip side? Is there anything that maybe you passed up on, an opportunity that you look back on and say, "Damn, I should have got my hands on that."
Listen, I'm a business person. During the pandemic, I had a young lady who approached me to open a restaurant with her in Florida. I pass on to it because I'm like, you know what? My wife was like, you going to Florida every other day doing business. I don't think
Oh, yeah? Is that what you're doing?
I don't think that's the right business for you. You have a family, I don't think that's the right business. But I could have managed a different way. I basically pass on to that business venture. But then when I look at myself, which is a year later, I go back to talk to the young lady. She actually started a franchise. And I felt like, you know what?
And what's the company called?
It's called Schwa.
Schwa. And what kind of restaurant? What kind of cuisine is it?
It's a Caribbean cuisine.
Caribbean cuisine. Very nice. Very nice.
Then, it's kind of like, I had it. I had the money ready to go. I was going to wire the money. And I said, you know what? Let me consult with the wife and then see what I could do.
Listen, we've all been there. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Or maybe because he was out of state, and then me not being a chef or not, and then it's going to require a lot of traveling because, especially it's out of state, I have to,
So let's spin it a little bit. Besides the fact that you obviously figured a way to make money and to have success in the trucking business and now in real estate, there's something to be said about the fact that getting into business in itself is a huge risk.
Correct.
Okay. How do you go about putting yourself in a position where you don't allow the day-to-day nuances and stresses get to you? Because I think a lot of people don't really understand that part of the process.
Great question, by the way.
For me, it's different because even though we all created equal, but we all not equal. It all depends on the capacity of what you could actually, take. Like for me, I'm always a go-getter. As a kid, I was destined to do what I'm doing right now. I always wanted to be in real estate business. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be a business person. Is that no matter what it is, I'm not going to just give up. I'm just going to continue. I'm going to keep going until I know when it's time to let go. So if one door closed, I'm going to try to find another way to open another door. That's just me. And I know what stress is. I have sleepless nights just like everybody else. As a business person, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up. I can't sleep. But I don't see it as a negative. I see it as like I'm awake. I'm going to try to find my way to get out of it. Whether I'm going to call a friend call a friend until we connect the dot.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't allow the issues consume you.
No,
You figure out solutions.
always, since I was a kid.
I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, listen,
Are you now?
listen, can I be honest with you? The house is on fire. I'm going to get out the house. Let's go find somewhere to stay. And then how are we going to rebuild that house? Or how are we going to get another house? So that's just the way I am. I'm not just say, oh, my God, I lost my house. I lost everything. So what am I going to do? No. I know to every problem there's a solution.
So that's basically how I am. Andrew,
Correct.
how is that how you are?
Like I said, yin and yang. It's true. I for the next year, I'd be like, I can't believe my fucking house is gone.
No. Like, listen, once it happened, I move on.
You know what I would say?
Yeah.
I'd be like, I can't believe God blessed me. I have
house.
insurance money coming. I'm going to build the house that I actually wanted. Thank you. That would
is
be
true.
my reaction.
No, that is true. That is true. So, because there's always a solution. There's always a solution. The solution might not come to you right then and there, but a few days later, if you're not thinking so much of what just happened or the negative, you're definitely going to come with a solution. Or somebody around in your circle going to come with the solution.
1,000%.
Great. That's great. So let's rewind even further. You touched upon it that as a kid, you had this sort of entrepreneurial spirit, right? Which is very interesting to me because as a kid, I kind of was like, and then the interest kind of happened and the whole thing. But tell us a little bit more about your childhood. Like, where'd you grow up? How did you know at such an early age that you kind of wanted to be this boss man that was going to be, calling the shots and taking kind of calculated risks and things like this?
Just to go back, I was actually born in Haiti. Third world country, poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. No shame. So since I was a kid, I see the struggle. Everybody always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wanted to be a business person because there's no jobs. You have to create a job. Like if I found a bottle of water, I'm gonna sell that water so I could make a profit. And I seen my parents, I seen them struggle, no education, but they were a business person. They were always know how to turn a dollar, how to make 50 cents out of a dollar. Since I was a kid and I always have the American dream that I'm always going to come to America, the great land of opportunity.
And at what age did you come here?
I came here when I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
So since then, I was destined, no matter what, I know this is the land of opportunity, that I'm going to be able to make it. And then with this country, and I know there's so much I could offer. One door's going to close, another door's going to open. It's part of life struggles. And then I came here, I didn't even speak English.
Wow.
So I spoke Creole and I spoke French.
Right. So basically, you were already an entrepreneur.
At 9 years old.
Just by coming to this country.
Yes.
Taking a risk on not knowing the culture,
English,
not knowing
nothing,
the language,
nothing.
not knowing anything.
I go to school, kids make fun of me. One kid says to me, "Fuck you," I laugh.
So that's why you got tough skin now.
So I laugh because I don't know what the hell he's saying to me. But guess what? Listen.
Fuck you too.
Fuck you too, exactly. So I was in the ESL class, with all the minority kids, just basically trying to learn the language. And then I said, you know what? I have to learn English. That became my first job. And because, I'm home, I'm speaking Creole, speaking French. And then now I have a lot of Spanish friends, Latin kids in the same class with me, which none of us understand each other. So that was definitely a struggle for me. And then I overcome that struggle because I always knew what I always wanted. And I knew this country could offer me so much by learning the language. And I said, you know what? I'm going to learn the language. I'm going to find my way into this country. And then, one thing about me, I always said, I don't know, David might know, I always knew who I was going to be, who I was destined to be. And when all my friends after high school were going to college, I knew college wasn't for me. I didn't go to college. Mm-hmm. I educate my own self. I got a job, and I knew I'm going to become a supervisor at the job. And while I'm at the job, then I'm going to keep finding my way up. And it's always has been that way for me. Mm. I could be the guy you hired to clean the bathroom. I'm okay with that. I'm going to take that job. But believe it or not, you're going to recognize my work ethic. Right. And you're going to ask me, like, listen, Benz, I know you're doing a great job. You show up for work. You're dedicated. You're showing passion. You're compassionate about what you do. Basically, we want to get you into another position. Mm. And it's always has been like that, since I was 18. I remember I work at a warehouse I'm driving a high-low, a forklift, if you don't know what it is. So I'm working in a warehouse. There's no heat. You know, I'm a loader. I'm working and everything. And then I took the job. When I took the job, like the guy that hired me said, you know, nobody speaks English here. Everybody speaks Spanish. And you're going to have to find a way to learn how to speak Spanish in order for you to survive. So that was a struggle. So I kept there little by little. Uno, dos, tres.
So hablas español?
Mucho.
Oh. So, you know what? To piggyback on your story, same here. But the difference is that my mother and father, well, my mother mostly, she did not want to hear that we're not going to college. I mean, we have to go to college, right?
That's a must.
So I started working at 14. My first job was Burger King. Wow. Most people don't know that. Then I started working as a Cheesecake Factory.
I did McDonald's.
I did waitering at a catering hall. I did valet parking. I mean, I was doing everything. I wanted to make money.
Correct.
I was just so freaking excited and driven to be successful.
I agree.
But you know, not having the proper mentorship, as we know, support. Unfortunately, you can make all the money you want, but if you don't know how to invest it, it doesn't do anything for you.
Correct.
So, you know, I went through that struggle for many, many years. At 19 years old, I sold Toyotas at Westbury Toyota out in Long Island.
Very nice.
My first year in the business, I did over $100,000 at 19 years old.
No wonder you're so successful.
But listen to this. From 19 to 30, I made six figures every year. But I did not invest any of it. I just lived life, was spending.
He was living rich.
Was living, yeah.
La vida loca.
Too rich. But the point is that you know, those years of that work ethic and that drive and not seeing real growth got to me. And when I finally decided that let me better myself, I decided to go in a business that was completely different from what I was doing. I was in sales, I was in mortgages, I was in construction, and then I opened a cafe business. Like, what the hell was I thinking? But that cafe business is the reason that I got into real estate sales.
Very nice.
If it wasn't for that business, I would have never even thought of getting into that space. And that allowed me to become the person I am today. Now, you know, and in my 30s, obviously, now I have kids, I have a family, I got expenses. You gotta start thinking smarter about what you do with your money. So that basically pushed me and forced me. But that's how important having a mentor is. I mean, you didn't have that your whole time that you were, you know, becoming a man, and then you fail as a man.
No, I fell so many
and
times.
you find that person that basically allowed you to have that access to him.
But you know, I'm glad you said that. The good thing about it, I always find someone that's always giving me the helping hands. From that time, I work at the spice company. You know, I'm working as a regular guy at the spice company. And he came to me, he said, listen, I'm about to sell the company for $36 million. Oof. But I know you just started with us. You know, I'm willing to give you $126,000, can you sign a contract that you're going to stay for 6 months because your work ethic is so great. I want you to teach the next guy.
So that was your first opportunity.
And he gave me that money. You know what I did with it? I bought a bodega.
Nice. So that was your first real business.
Yes.
Wow. But listen, how about this? You're saying that you always found someone
to give me the helping hands.
No, you didn't find anyone. You know why? You put yourself in that position.
Correct.
Because everybody thinks
opportunity meet
everybody
luck.
wants to,
that's when opportunity meet luck.
But everybody thinks that you got to surround yourself with the right people. Listen, if you don't bring no value, then why would they want to even spend their time with you, waste their time with you?
Correct, which is like you just said. You know, he saw my work ethic, and then he's doing a transition. He's selling the company. There's nobody else better than what I do. I know my job very good, and I take pride in my job. He's like, listen, these guys are coming in. I need you to sign a contract for 6 months so you could transition with them. And after that, you could decide and do what you want to do. And which is the same thing. While I was working at the spice company, I met a guy from the Bronx driving to Jersey to work at the spice company. He introduced me to a guy who was a loan officer. And then from that point on,
your new venture started.
So my new venture started. So the guy kept telling me, you need to quit your job. You can't be working at a spice place. You're smelling like spice. You smell like paprika and garlic and cloves. You can't be doing that. He's like, you have more value. He saw more value in me than I actually see in myself. But even as a risk taker, I know I was a risk taker. I didn't want to quit my job because of the fact that I know I had insurance. You know, I'm doing like what everybody else, especially knowing that I didn't go to college.
Stability.
I wanted that stability. Then you know what he did? He showed me how to buy a property. I bought the property, and he told me, let's get a freaking line of credit against the property. I got a line of credit, I think, for $82,000. Then he said, you know what? Quit your job. Let's give off that money. Like you just said, that 1 year, I made $54,000 working at the spice company. That 1 year, I did loan. I made $182,000.
Wow.
That's the definition of what "let's get it" means.
Let's get it.
Get it.
We all getting it.
You know what I mean? It's not just about the paper. It's about the opportunity. It's about the story. It's about the journey. It's about you wanted it. Right?
Correct.
You had to get it. You had to.
No choice.
So, that's what this podcast is going to be all about. It's about people that are seizing opportunity and telling you how they did it. Because from this podcast, right off the bat, you got to do two things. You need to work as unbelievably hard as you ever can, and you need to, any door that looks like it's opening just a little bit, you make sure that you connect with that person, you get mentored by that person, you meet the person, but you have to have the work ethic with it so that somebody will vouch for you.
That's when hard work beat talents.
100%. Absolutely. So let's fast forward to current day, 2023. What do you have on tap right now? What are you busy with? What are you eyeing right now? What does the next year look like for you?
Please don't brag, all right?
No,
don't brag too much.
I'm
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I don't like to brag. I'm very humble. Very humble, not bragging. Listen, and I'm still learning. Even in 2023, I'm doing a lot of real estate deals. But I also, now my new challenge, as David already knew, I'm doing development deals as well. Where I've been in this business, I would say a total of 22 years. I have been doing flips since like 2008, 2009. And then now I'm doing development deals, which is all brand new to me.
So everyone understands development deals. You mean land acquisition?
Land acquisition.
Built from the ground up.
Building from the ground up.
Yeah.
And this is all brand new to me. It's been a challenge. And then I'm learning. I surrounded myself with the right people who's basically helping me, teaching me, making me understand this is how the process goes. And that's what my challenge is right now as of 2023. I'm back now to being a student of the game.
There you go.
Wow.
Never too old to be a student, that's for sure.
Nah.
As long as you're honing your skills and sharpening your knives and all that stuff.
And what I realized, the more you into it, the more deals that's coming to you that way, more than you could actually handle. When I wasn't into land acquisition and building ground up, no one has approached me about it. But now that has become my life.
There you go.
Wow.
All right. Well,
I mean, you're being proactive, right?
Proactive, manifestation.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's huge.
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction, 100%.
this is all gold. I mean, we could talk for hours here, but I think as we're sort of winding down, wrapping up, let's ask some fun questions to sort of.
So we're gonna have some tequila with that.
We're gonna definitely tequila.
I mean, I kind of need a drink. Oh wait, but it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
But it is 5 o'clock somewhere.
We could always go for lunch after this. Let's just ask you some fun things. Have you found an amazing Haitian restaurant, Creole cuisine in the tri-state area, Jersey, New York,
what a question!
NYC? And if so, put us on.
Definitely. David already know. I have a chef. His name is Chef Duke that I'm friends with, very close friends,
Okay.
and basically
Very upset with you, by the way.
Yeah, he does some good, amazing food.
The reason I say that is because Chef Duke was the executive chef, Michelin-rated chef at my cigar club, Le Malt.
Okay.
And you've been there, Andrew. And unfortunately, Mr. Benz over here saw an opportunity and persuaded him to go and become partners
Yeah, we
at
are.
a potential what? What are you doing?
Potential restaurants.
What kind of
which-
restaurant?
It's gonna be breakfast and lunch, and also we're gonna be serving finger foods from 5 o'clock till like midnight, and it's a new venture.
And the cuisine?
Cuisine is authentic Caribbean / American.
So you're putting the
A
Croatian...
little bit fusion.
Fusion into
Yeah,
it.
a little bit fusion into it. That's one of my ventures. It's more so of a passion.
Okay.
I always want to feel like I'm the man who owns a restaurant, walking around with my suits,
Absolutely.
looking all nice.
You always get
all,
that corner table.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
talking.
Looking all dapper
Listen,
like David.
the most important part about but the most important part about what you did there, you found someone that is already successful in his own way.
Correct.
Has already a reputation, has a following, obviously makes amazing food, but you saw an opportunity where, okay, if I'm going to get into this business, let me limit the risk factor.
Correct. Which is what we just talked about.
Which is what I did not know when I got into the cafe business.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually eliminated probably a good 50% of what could go wrong in that venture. And I'm sure you took on other partners to
I have other partners
to have
and
less liability.
Less liability, and
Absolutely.
I also like we talk about mentorship, and him being a chef, he's a chef, but he's not a business person, for say in the restaurant business. But I have a gentleman that I'm talking to right now, which is we have becoming friends, and then he's already managed 20, 50 restaurants in the past. He already has the say-so or the je ne sais quoi about the business.
He got the experience.
He got
to
the
basically
experience.
carry the business.
Carry the business. And
Yeah.
then, you surround yourself with the right people, definitely you're going to be successful at it. And that's what I said to you guys earlier. I'm a student of the game. So right now, everything I'm doing in my life, I'm learning. I'm going backwards, learning, so I could challenge myself, elevate myself to the next level by surrounding myself with the right mind, the right mindset, people who has the ability of, they know exactly what they're doing, and that's where
Bringing value.
Bringing value.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you another thing. Like, putting yourself in that position is everything, right?
Correct.
It's great. But how do you let failure affect you? Because a lot of people will typically break down. And does it inspire you? Do you learn from it? Like, what do you feel from failure? Does it fuel you?
I think it fuels me, to be honest. I have adrenaline. I'm like a junkie for those kind of things because it does challenge me, and I have the adrenaline. It's like, just because they happen, I'm going to find a way. And one thing I learned about life, if you're not in a position for certain things, for you to deal with certain obstacles, you have to be in that situation in order for you to find yourself. Let's say right now, if I don't have money, I say, you know what, I don't have any money. Where can I find money? But if I have money, I have no reason to look for money. So that obstacle will not affect me. But if I fell, I have to find a way to find myself back. So now I got to start going back to the Rolodex. I got to start calling. I got to find the resources. Who do I need to talk to find it? And I'm good with that.
So basically nothing's stopping you.
No, nothing's stopping me.
And the reason I asked that question was for that reason, because the audience needs to understand that no matter what happens, no matter what it is you're trying to do not be afraid to go out there and do it.
Correct.
Because it's part of life. Failing is part of life. You're going to learn from that. And let me tell you something. Sometimes you fail, and what you get from that experience allows you to succeed and level up in the future.
Correct. And just like a kid riding a bike, they fell a couple times. They fell once. They fell 3 times. They fell 4 times. They don't quit. They got up. They dust themselves up. They crying, mommy, 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 daddy, daddy, daddy. But guess what? They didn't quit. And they get back in that bike. And then guess what? Now they know how to ride a bike. And that's just how it is. And it's the same thing.
So basically, we all have it in us.
No, we do. We all do. We all do. We all have it in us.
Très magnifique.
Très magnifique. C'est très bien.
So funny, because this is how business and entrepreneurial centric you are, that I asked a question about food, and somehow we went on to like a 20-minute rant about business. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. So
It's passion. Listen, we here, we could talk for hours.
Yeah, you're getting me excited over here. I want to go do something. What are we buying? What are we doing, you know?
It's, you see what David just said? It's in us.
It really is.
It's in us. It's in
I'm
us.
going to give you one last softball that hopefully doesn't go to business, but it might. Do you have any hobbies outside of business? So that, I mean, obviously, again, your whole life, the game almost is, like the hobby is business, right? And sort of accumulating more success and things like this and going to different ventures. But is there anything strictly a hobby that you're into when you turn off work for a minute?
Do you want me to tell you the truth?
Yes.
Work is my hobby.
That's it. That's why I said I had a feeling.
I was gonna say smoking cigars, but then again, we talk about
business.
work and business for
all
hours,
day.
for hours.
That's exactly. Work is my hobby. I'll be honest.
So there's no off switch, is what you're saying?
No, for me, there is no off switch, and it's always been my hobby. And anybody that follows me, anybody that knows me, work always have been my passion, regardless. Whenever, like, I could be in the car with the wife, the kids, the phone ring, I said, I'm not going to look at it, but I have no choice.
That I 100%.
Well, listen,
Sure.
the reality of the situation is that work can be fun.
No, it is fun.
And some people might not have the risk tolerance that we have and might not want to take on that type of responsibility.
I never feel bothered. I never feel like, okay, why is he calling me? It's work. And it becomes a passion. And in whatever conversation that I'm having.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah. People need to find their passion.
Correct.
You don't need to be an entrepreneur and try to do all it. If you have a passion for something, that could be your business.
Correct.
And that's exactly what I was trying to get at.
You are literally always working and never working.
Let me just say this, though. Work is fun. As I'm working, I go throughout the whole day. Like, my regular day, Benz in the life of Benz or whatever. I go to my job sites, I go to my office, I go to my regular meetings, and I'm talking on the phone, and then that's my work. And that's has become my work. And if one of my workers is picking up cement on the floor, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a helping hand to help him. But that's part of my job. I enjoy doing it, and it never.
So you're not worried about getting your hands dirty.
No, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. I'll trade in the suit for whatever.
Construction boots.
I've been there, done that. But the crazy part is I won't do it in the house, but I'll do it at work.
I swear to you. Listen, my wife literally screams at me. She goes, you go to these job sites, you freaking get your hands dirty, you do this, you do that, you deal with this mess all day long, and you come home, I ask you to put the crib together, and you're like,
that's not happening.
I don't got time for that.
That's
or
not happening.
hire someone. Oh, man.
That's not happening. That's my life, and then that's exactly what it is that, I enjoy what I do. So except at home, I'm just not a worker. I'm just a regular guy. Actually, I'm not the boss at home. Whatever he tells me to do, I try not to rebuttal. If I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody to help getting it done.
Okay. So you're a professional delegator, because that's what I am.
Correct.
All right.
I enjoy it.
So I guess we're going to wrap it up over here, no?
We're definitely going to wrap it up. We can keep going, but let's have any last final thought you want to
we
leave the
can
audience with.
definitely keep going with some tequila. No, I'm just kidding.
Tequila. Any last final thoughts you might have to leave with the audience? First of all, I'll just say it was a pleasure having you here. It was very informative, but also inspirational. And we thank you again for being here. But if there's anything you want to leave the audience with, now's the chance. Otherwise, we can just drop the mic and go get tequila.
Tequila. So, listen, I'm very flattered and honored to be here. You guys give me the opportunity as your first guest for the show, and you guys inspired me. I watch you and David all the time, see what you guys are doing. You guys are definitely an inspiration, knowing from where we met last year when you guys were selling and where you guys are now. And it's definitely an inspiration for me. And then what I would leave the audience with is that hard work beat talents. Life, favor is not fair. It's like, I'm going to say this, I don't want to go in too deep. Somebody that's going into church every day, God, give me a job, but never apply for a job. Never apply for a job. So, listen, hard work, continue working hard, and definitely you're going to reach your level of success. And don't let the obstacles of life stop you. It's part of life.
1,000%. I also want to say thank you for coming. I honestly thought you were going to be like, I'm too busy.
No.
And understand that I invited him a little bit last minute, but I wanted you to be the first guy because you and I have connected in so many different ways. You're also an inspiration to me. I look up to you, even though you say you look up to me. But at the end of the day,
we all do. Each one seeks one.
100%.
That's just how it is.
And so you're doing big things. We're all trying to do big things, and this is going to be a collaborative effort to continue growing and to continue leveling up. And honestly, we do appreciate you coming, my brother. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Oh man,
Andrew. Thank you.
Sir.
I appreciate it. It's a great, opportunity to be here, to be amongst the greats.
Oh, I like that. And now,
And then guess what?
What?
I'll see you guys in the magazine.
And I was gonna end it like this. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Oh, that was awesome, brother.